It's so cool coming back here every day. Every day it's totally changed. Even just from yesterday, it's changed.
We, as a class, are installing a Sol LeWitt wall drawing from the 80s. And part of the course is playing out a tension between artistic ideas and their ultimate creation and questions of style, fabrication, and information. LeWitt kind of ran with a notion that artworks, as they were made in the middle 60s by folks like Donald Judd, who was a sort of classic minimalist sculptor, he stopped making them. He would send his plans out for fabrication. And LeWitt began to say, okay, well, if other people can produce these objects, then maybe I can begin to develop a system where other people can produce mine, and that the idea and the physical manifestation of that idea are equally important objects. And so it's a kind of move from minimal practice that's based in objects to a conceptual practice that has a physical component but is also principally about ideas.
This work, number 394, consists of a pencil line grid, roughly 12 by 12 squares done with a 6H pencil. And then onto that grid are placed, with no particular pattern, a series of black crayon lines. And for those lines, there's 4 different positions. There's diagonal from upper left, diagonal from upper right, horizontal and vertical line. In addition to position of the line, there's 3 different types of lines. There's a straight solid line, a straight dash line, or a freehand line. So in the end, that gives us a total of 12 different lines to choose from as we, make a decision on what we're going to put in any particular square.
It's actually a lot harder than it looks. The preparators come up with all the specifications according to what the Sol LeWitt estate would have preferred and has requested. So it's not just as simple as drawing lines on a wall. You have to be respectful of what they would have wanted and make sure you're not being sloppy with it.
The goal is to have kind of a random assortment of lines on the wall. So we're trying to avoid any continuous shapes, for example, making a diamond accidentally. So more in the later stages of the work, we'll be conscious of what lines are going where to avoid any possible patterns or shapes in the walls.
It's definitely a different sense of appreciation when you're actually drawing it than just seeing the art on the wall and knowing that it was drawn by a draftsman who's different from the actual artist who came up with the concept.
Well, Sol LeWitt is well known to all of us. He's part of the landscape of 20th century art. The LeWitt estate was extremely generous. They offered us, they said, oh sure, we'd be glad to do that. And they sent us JPEGs of 15 works that Sol had made primarily for school groups to execute. And they ran the gamut from very complicated with color to very simple. And we chose a work that we thought would really complement this space. And I think we've been very happy with that selection because it makes all of the rest of the works in the exhibition come alive in a way that we really hoped would happen, but we couldn't tell.
I think being able to engage with actual artworks in person, and in this kind of very unique experience to be able to have a hand in the creation of the artwork. These things, I think, take a very different feel for the students as total objects that are complete versus objects in a book that are described to them by others, or even described by the artist, versus objects that they actually get to make. And I think you have a very different relationship to the reading, the history, and the material itself when you are, nose to nose with the wall, actually making the thing over time.